Clement Street is really, as an association, is putting a ton of work into driving people here for multiple reasons and then supporting each other in that way.
That was photographer Chloe Jackman. I'm Jeff, and this is Storied San Francisco. Every week on this podcast, you'll hear from photographers, comedians, activists, and San Franciscans from all walks of life, telling stories, sharing personal histories, and trying to put into words what makes this city so special. Welcome to episode 49, part 2. In this last podcast of season 2, Chloe talks about various office and service jobs she had before she was inspired and able to pursue her photography full-time. She also talks about the realities of being a working artist in San Francisco, especially when it comes to renting. Michelle and I will be taking a few weeks off as we prepare for season 3. We'll be rerunning some favorite episodes from seasons 1 and 2 in the meantime. Season 3 will launch on January 11th, 2020, with a show and an art opening in South of Market. Please save that date and stay tuned to Twitter and Instagram for more info coming out over the next several weeks. Here's Chloe.
And I quickly got a job at a mortgage company and rode that wave for a couple of years, like rode this part of that mortgage wave. Mm-hmm. I was already on the incline. I was like just working admin work. So I was there for 2 or 3 years. And then...
Oh, you weren't ripping off people of color and everything else?
Oh, no, but I used to be the auditor. Like I had to audit all the loans and I didn't understand what was going on at that time. I just knew it was crazy that they would be like, oh yeah, here's this loan. Like, can you check and make sure all the paperwork's in there? And it would be like 3 pages long. And I'm like, how do you buy a house with 3 pages?
Right. Right. Little did you know.
Little did I know that I was part of.
Well, you don't have to say who
demise.
You worked for, but were you working for a company that was part of all that shit?
They were a smaller company.
Okay.
So, but like they were a mortgage company that other mortgage, like we would send our mortgages to like Chase and Wells Fargo and like that was how the mortgages were done. Like they were just the place where all the mortgage brokers worked, and then they used all these different places. Mm-hmm. But yeah, when that all started to crumble, I mean, I literally feel like it's like something you can watch like crumble down. And I was just like, and I remember I came out of college and all these people were driving all these fancy cars and up here. And I was like, what is going on? There is like so much money being tossed around and all these 22-year-olds with all this money doing all this stuff. And boom, it crashed and the layoffs came and I was like, lay me off because I want to go become a photographer. And they laid me off and I started my photography career. I started it in college. I take that back. My original photography name was Chasing Sunsets, which turned out to be a really religious thing when I looked it up on Google. It was some guy with like a religious blog, and mine was Chasing Sunsets with the Z, and I was like, this is going to get confusing. People aren't going to be able to figure this out. And my mom had talked to some like older photographer, and he's like, just have her use her name. And so I started that because in Santa Barbara, I was like constantly after work, like when I'd work lunch shifts, I'd be driving all over trying to get the best view of the sunset because Santa Barbara has some stunner sunsets. And so then after college, I traveled a little bit and took some photos and I was like, these are good. Like I should try selling these. And
where did you travel?
I went to Thailand and then I went to Amsterdam and Paris. So I did 2 separate trips after college. And then a couple years after that, I traveled to the Southwest with my mom and my aunt. It was amazing. We did like a 3,000-mile road trip. It was awesome. And I took some of my like best photos then. Photos that I actually was able to eventually sell a couple of. Nice. And I was like, oh, I could do this. So that's kind of when that bug really started rolling for me. So I started taking pictures of people because I was like, Ansel Adams, the only guy who can actually make any money selling landscapes, and I think he only did that when he died. So there goes that. Right. So I started doing photos of my friends' kids' birthday parties, that kind of stuff, and that's kind of where that whole thing...
On the side, though?
On the side while I was working at the mortgage company. Okay. And then when layoffs came, I was like, cool, because I actually want to go do this other thing. Okay. And I'm realizing how shady all this shit is anyways.
Right.
Let me get out of here.
Was that 08, 09-ish?
Yeah.
When all that happened. Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's when you made the decision.
I mean, I think I was one of the like extras at the company. So I think I probably got laid off sooner than that. I was probably out of there by 2007.
Okay. Blessing in disguise.
Oh,
in a way.
totally.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
I got my taste of grown-up jobs. I don't ever want to do that again. I never wanted to work in somebody else's office again. Just wasn't my jam. It was a great experience. Glad I did it, because had I not, I'd probably be doing this and wondering if I should be doing something else. And then I started working at bars. So I was able to like restaurants and bars and things like that while I was doing the photography thing, starting out with like birthday parties, which I also don't ever want to do again. Kids' birthday parties, no fun.
Can you name drop bars and restaurants you worked in?
Yes, I worked at Bruno's.
Yeah.
Then I went from Bruno's to Harry's. And Harry's wasn't really my jam. I made more money there, but again, I was just inundated. It was like Santa Barbara all over again. And then right before I left, they were like, we're going to change the dress code to be hot pants that say Harry's on the ass. And I was like, I'm out of here. I think I actually got fired, though, because I was coming back from Reggae on the River and I missed my shift. Oh. But I wanted weekends off anyways. Then I went to 1300 Fillmore, and that's where I met Justine. Oh. And then Justine, and then Joe and Aaron, and like that whole life came. Actually, no, I take that back. I met Joe at Bruno's because he used to do the Tuesday nights.
Which our listeners will remember from whatever episode that was with Joe Bigale. He talked about it.
Yeah. I used to have to place his order for his hamburger. And then he started playing at 1300 on Tuesday nights. I think that like replaced their Tuesday night thing. And me and my bestie like would love listening to their music. And then we started going to Royale. Is that where they went afterwards? We would like go follow them to their next gig that because musicians had like 25 gigs in one day. And they'd have another gig, and then we'd go like party with them at night. We had a great time. 1300 was great while it was great.
And you worked there, or?
Oh yeah, I worked there for a couple of years, probably.
Bartending, serving?
Serving.
Okay. And
then the manager from there, but I had a hard time getting my weekends off to be pursuing my photography passion. Right. And in one sense I get it. They're like, I need you to work your hours. And in another sense, they're probably like, another photographer, who cares? Like everybody thinks they're a photographer.
Right.
And then I went to Presidio Social Club after that when I left 1300. And that was my last serving job. Yeah, and then I went to Presidio Social Club, and that was the last place I worked. And I remember I did a shoot for them once, and they were like, you're actually good. And I was like, did you think that I was pursuing this career because what? And so I slowly weaned off of my second job and went full-time 8 years ago.
Okay. Wow. So 11. Were you and Mike living together yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't really able. I was living out in San Bruno before we moved around the corner from the studio. And I wasn't really able to make the full-time jump until I was like actually in the city. Joined like networking groups, did all that stuff, and
what was that like? Cliff. So another return to the city. What was that like?
Oh, it was amazing. I was so tired. I mean, San Bruno isn't even that far away, but I felt like I was a million miles away from everything. Like by the time I got
Except
home.
For Chili's.
Except for
Chili's was right there.
Tanforan. Yo, that Tanforan Target, I went back there the other day. That is the place to be.
That is a good Target. Yeah.
Got all the stuff.
Yep.
It's super quiet. It's clean. Tanforan Target.
BART accessible if you're
it's
into
like
that.
right there. Yeah. Like the BART drops you off, and then you can just walk, so you can carry all your things just right to the BART station. And
yeah.
I love that Tanforan Target. So coming back into the city, it was like everything I wanted. I didn't realize how much I didn't want to live in San Bruno until I moved out into San Bruno. I was like, this is not where I want to be. And we have a condo there. Like my mom helped me buy a condo when my parents split, and she sold her house, which she was able to flip because she just timed everything like perfectly. Okay. So she helped me buy a condo out there, which we still have. My dad and my brother live there, and Mike and I may end up out there one day with our kids, so that there's some like green and safe places to run around, and there's like a pool at the condo and all that stuff. Because how the hell do we stay here?
Yeah.
How do we stay here?
We can certainly talk about that, but I can we just real fast talk about because you had never lived on this side of town, or
no,
this part of town.
Yeah, we started looking for apartments, and we had just never spent any time over here, really. You know, we were like, I don't know, is it too far? Like,
literally no time? Like, you didn't know anything? Or
I mean, just not really, no. I mean, I'd come to Golden Gate Park, and I worked in the Presidio, you know, so, like, I kind of spent some time in this area, but not really. Do you know what I mean? Like, neither had he. He was living with his friend at the time who lives over next to Safeway, across from Safeway, in those condos on Geary and Webster.
Oh, yeah.
So he lived there, so I was spending a lot of time there, but still we hadn't even really, like, crossed over the hill. You know, we hadn't really crossed over
through the wind tunnel
and
onto
like, I
the
spent
hill.
time on Haight, because that's what everybody does. You wander around on Haight and go shopping and things like that, but, like, not really ever made it all the way over here.
And what'd you think of it?
I mean, we moved in, and it was amazing. Like, I could go days without leaving the neighborhood.
You guys are at Geary, or
We're right around the corner, so we're
fourth? Whatever, third and Geary.
Yeah.
Or between Geary
closer
and
to
Clement.
Geary than Clement.
Okay.
And like, we were able to find, I mean, I could just find everything I needed. And then Ace moved on the corner, and, you know, Target moved into the neighborhood, and it was just like, the post office is here, my dry cleaner's downstairs, all the food you could ever want. Like, and then my photo shoot started happening in Golden Gate Park and Presidio, and it was like, I could stay in the neighborhood for days and never leave.
Yep.
It's like its own self-contained little magical haven.
Totally.
And I feel like the fog tends to stop right around 10th.
I've had a lot of talks about this because I moved from the Mission to where we are, Masonic and Geary. And,
Yeah, I know, you got-
And I was like, the other 10 or 15 years of my time here, it was foggy out there. And of course it still is. It's foggy there before it'll be foggy in the Mission, but it's not as bad as people think. And it's probably climate change, but
No, I know.
I'll take it.
No.
I'm good.
I know, it's nice when it's so hot. But sometimes that wind,
That wind.
it just comes like barreling up Geary and Clement.
When I walk through the intersection of Geary and Masonic, I hold on to my hat.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's not windy outside, because I know it'll just punch me in the face.
And then how fast people are driving too. Between all those things, you're gonna get. Yeah, no, I love this neighborhood. I don't know, you know, if we pop out another kid and need to expand our space, and this has become like I feel like this is the new, like, neighborhood. Everybody's moving out here to have more space and have a bigger flat and move their kids, and so it's just become a really expensive, hard neighborhood to live in. Which sucks because we love it.
Right.
And I go north a lot, and I'm right there next to Golden Gate Bridge, and, you know, all the parks and the greenery. I will also say that I recently, my husband likes to call it Aaron Brockovich, our building. When we came home from getting married 2.5 years ago, like literally 2 days after we came home, we got a notice that the building was for sale. We were like in tears. It was like, what do you mean? I was just in the process of, like, I guess I wasn't moving in with Morgan just yet. But anyways, we got this notice that the building was for sale. And we were like, okay, well, we're rent controlled. So if this, like, happens, they'll have to pay us out like X amount of dollars to leave. But what are we going to do? Like, it's not enough money to buy a house. You know, it's like basically enough money to, like, pay off our debt and put some money in a savings account. Like, because we had just came back from our wedding that we blew the budget on. And so then the building sold like 6 months later, and the new landlord took over, and he seemed to be a pretty nice guy. He fixed the roof. He fixed all the things that the landlord before never touched because she was a lazy piece of shit. Basil Wong, I hate you. And then we get pregnant, and like 4 months into our pregnancy, we get another notice that the building's for sale again. We're like, what in the world is going on? However, the landlord is trying to sell it as a non-rent controlled building.
I didn't know that's possible.
Yeah, it's not, because it is a rent controlled building.
Right.
Because and I learned a lot of stuff about rent, but if your building has a certificate of rental something or something before June of 1979,
Right.
then your building is protected by rent control.
Designated.
Yes. Our building was built in 1978. There are people who live in the building who moved in. The first tenants to ever move into the building had their pick of the units from 1978.
Jesus.
With a lease from 1978.
Paying $2 a month.
The landlord had found some document that we think is forged that said that it was actually December of 1979. However, it looks like a 7 that was turned into a 9. Anyways, this whole situation.
Did he do like the pin and then eraser thing?
It looked like it was like a copy made of a copy made of a copy. It like wasn't signed by the fire inspector. Like it was real shady shit.
Right.
And we were like, absolutely not. You are not going to like kick us out. We're not going to get that, because they were trying to say that they could raise our rent like $1,400. Like each unit would be worth like $1,400 more than we pay.
Right.
For some people, it was like twice as much as they pay.
Right.
And I was like, no way.
Yeah.
I was trying to move into this new studio space around the corner. Like I was having a baby. I was like, you fucked with the wrong woman. So we got this postcard from Impact Hub, which is this real estate company that helps buildings like this. And I called her up right away, day after we got the notice. And I was like, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you can do, but you got to help me like fight the fucking man. And that was in, I don't know, I would say like the winter of last year, maybe January, this all started. And this week we should be closing with Meta, which is a nonprofit organization, the Small Sites program through Sandra Lee and London and all the things that are happening that are helping keep people in their homes.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so that's my like San Francisco, like hold it down. Don't fret, people, if your landlord is trying to fuck you over, because there are organizations out there that are amazing. And we're the second building that Meta, which is a mission-based...
I was going to say, it's Mission Economic...
Development...
Agent?
Association?
Yeah, MEDA. Right?
Yeah, MEDA. They're amazing. And they're coming in and they did all these tests. They tested for lead and asbestos and this and that and the pipes and they did everything. They brought so many people to come through and like check the building to make sure that they could do all the things to make sure that's 100% up to code. And they're going to keep it up. They're going to make the building up to code. It's amazing. They have to do all the things. I mean, damn this rent control and these lazy freaking landlords who are like, I don't care if there's a hole in your floor.
Right.
Just put some tape over it and move on.
Right. So as far as what's the word? Housing, Jesus.
That's the one.
As far as housing goes, your situation, and in general, there is hope. There are resources.
Because there are people. Here's the deal. I'm not quite sure what all these. I guess I can't always just blame it on the tech kids. I just don't know what all this new money is expecting. You know, I heard an article the other day, and they were like, read. If there's a natural catastrophe, which it can be a natural catastrophe, all the people who work for the fire department and the police and medical, they don't live in the city because they can't afford it. They're not going to stay here and help all of us. They're going to go back and help their families. Like, what do we all expect?
Right.
Who is going to do the jobs that you don't want to do? People can't commute from Tracy to work at McDonald's. It's ridiculous to me that they're like, that people don't understand the repercussions of this. And in the last week, how many restaurants in San Francisco have closed?
I mean, in the last day, honestly. It's to the point of at least a couple of a day.
Yeah.
And some of them, like my whole thing is like, I've always selfishly been like, well, if, my favorite this and that and this and that, if those places start closing, then I'm going to rethink it. And it's like, now it's creeping up on that. It's not about me. Anyway.
But it's about all of us. It's about...
It is.
No, I don't feel like anybody's looking at the big picture here.
No. Yeah, they're looking at the here and now, but not in the good way.
No, they're like, how can I get one up, and how can this affect me and make my life better, and how can I get as much money out of everybody else's pockets to line mine? And then what?
Right.
Who's going to feed you?
Let's end on a positive note. Let's talk about this space.
Yes.
And what's going on here.
Yeah. In a scary ass city, Morgan and I decided to sign some 5-year leases. So.
Do you want to talk just briefly about who Morgan is?
Oh, yeah. So Morgan is my work wife. And so a year and a half ago-ish, my mom introduced us. My mom comes to visit from Washington, and she likes to go for walks in the neighborhood, and she loves vintage stores and secondhand stores. So she stumbled by and met Morgan a couple of times. And one day she and I were out for a walk, and she said, "Oh, you should come and meet Morgan." And I went in and I was like, "Oh my God, how come we never met each other before?" Literally, her store is 2 blocks away from my house, so how had I never met her before? And I asked her what she had upstairs, and she said, "Oh, it's my photo studio." And I was like, the kind of studio you'd want to rent out to a photographer? Because my husband and I used to walk down the street all the time and be like, in that empty space will be Chloe Jackman photography, and that one, trying to manifest it all. And so she was like, yeah, I actually was just thinking the other day that I want to rent it out to a photographer specifically. So we like manifested each other. And so a few months after that encounter, I moved into her upstairs space. And within a month of us sharing space, we realized that we had grown out of that space. So we immediately started looking for our next big step.
That was down Clement between Arguello and 2nd, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
She was in the same building as Arsacol Bakery. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, sharing a bathroom window with a bakery that smells like butter and cheese and sugar.
Torture.
Is not good. And now we're next to a pizza place.
Okay.
So now we just smell bread and cheese and...
From breakfast to dinner.
Yeah. I was like, can I get next to like a health food store?
Yeah.
So we quickly moved out of that space and grew out of that space. And just through like putting the word out there, because we're part of the Clement Street Association, which we love. I love this neighborhood. My husband calls us like the president and vice president of the neighborhood because we're always like, hey, how you doing? What's up, Michelle? What's up? Hey, Cynthia. Yeah. Because we're just friends with everybody in the neighborhood. We're always talking, we've really, really become... Morgan had already been really involved, and I feel like through that and through being actually physically on Clement Street as a business, I feel super involved and just super grateful to be here. It's just, we talked about moving to other neighborhoods, and we were just like, but why would we leave our little family here?
Exactly. And how important was it to you guys to get a new space on Clement?
It was a pretty big priority. I mean, we both live in the neighborhood as well, but also just Clement Street is really, as an association, is putting a ton of work into driving people here for multiple reasons and then supporting each other in that way. Like more restaurants are opening, more vintage is actually coming onto the street. Shopping, we just want this to be a destination. Like, we have events, and we're doing Fourth Friday art walks that we just started last week. Yeah, it's a whole thing. We're having our grand opening in a week. Oh my God, in like 4 days. Yeah. We have like fall events happening, the Clementine and holiday strolls, and we want to bring Christmas lights on the street and dress up the trees. And we just really want to, because this has become such a family neighborhood, we really want to keep driving that here and just keep making this a destination for people to come. When you come to San Francisco, Clement Street should also be another place that you come and check out. And for more than just dim sum, like, come and check it out. Put your jacket on, put your scarf on, and come visit us on Clement Street.
Tell us about Chloe Jackman Photography. Is that what we're calling this place? I can't remember. That was like an hour ago that we had that
right? So it's an amazing space that when I originally moved into Morgan's space, I wanted a space that I could rent out and like have that be part of the whole vibe of the space, is that other photographers could use it, videographers could use it. It just turned out that space is a little bit too small to be all the things I wanted it to be. So when we moved and we basically both tripled our size, I ended up with a space that I now shoot in. I just shot the CEO or the founder of Eden Body Works last week, and it's, Eden Body Works is all about the kind of products I use in my hair. Mm-hmm. And so it's this great, amazing space that I can now shoot these clients and do this high-end like editorial work that I really want to be doing, but also a place that has a huge dining room table for people to come and do classes or have small meetings, meetups, that kind of thing. I just want it to be a community space. You can do sound baths and yoga and whatever you want to do in this space. And it's exciting. And
how do people find you?
You can go to Instagram at Chloe Jackman Photos. You can go to my website, chloejackman.com. I'm not going to put my phone number on here, but know.
Yeah. You're like, besides walking down
555-5555.
Besides walking down to 3rd and Clement.
3rd and Clement, 147 Clement. Come by and see us.
Works, yep. Right? And you'll put that out there.
Yeah, 147 Clement. Come by. You can see Morgan in her the golden hour up front. Come back and she'll show you the spaces if I'm not here. And come check out my Le Diamond Secret. The hidden gem.
That was Chloe Jackman. And with that, Season 2 has come to an end. Please remember to save the date of January 11, 2020. That's when we'll launch Season 3 with a live show and art opening. Music for the podcast is by Otis McDonald. Film photography is by Michelle Kilfeather. You can find all episodes from seasons 1 and 2 over on our website, storiedsf.com. While you're there, please help support what we do by going to our store page and choosing from several different pledge levels. Please follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please rate and review the show. And if you have any feedback for us, our email is storiedsf@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.